Good morning. Hi, how are you? This is Dan. Happy Labor Day. I hope most people have this day off. I know a lot of people don't. I'm very grateful to have this day off because it's a hot day. Not hot yet, but it's getting hotter. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm retired from one job with the County of San Diego, and then I work for the local school district as a crossing guard and also a noon duty supervisor substitute. Uh, I like those jobs a lot, and they're really fun. But this is the one time of year that it's pretty hot. So I not so much for the crossing guard job, but for the noonday, I'm not in the elements. So any day I can A, be with my wife, who is inside, or B, not be in the heat. Even though I love those kitties and I love the money, it is just so fun to be cool. God bless whoever invented air conditioning. That's all I can say. So today, I know I talked about making a video about the birds, and I'm going to, um, but probably not today because uh, I wanted to do a shorter video today to see what people's reactions would be to it. So if you'd like, when you watch it, if you could leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Because I want to mix in movies, but also like stories about things I've done, and adventures and fun stuff. Not like depressing. Like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Who is this guy telling me this depressing stories? Because we all have depressing stories. But and there's nothing wrong with that. But I like to focus on the positive and things that I think are fun. So drop me a comment um, if you like, and let me know if you like this video. Okay, and then next time I need to get back to the birds. The other reason that this video is going to be a little shorter is I haven't had breakfast yet, and I'm getting kind of hungry. But I wanted to check in with you. I'm really enjoying making these videos. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. And I haven't ever spent this much time in the car without having it move, but it's just a great place to film. Okay, so this is going to be as a story. This was back in '87. I was living in San Diego. At I think I was home from college, um, and I started working as a temporary employee. Back then, when there were a ton of temporary employee uh, businesses, and and you could get fair amount of money for like 1 or 2 days, or even longer for jobs that may not be like the kind of job that you want forever, but it was fairly easy money, and it was fun. So I one summer I worked down in Chula Vista, California, in a warehouse. It was kind of like a paper storage type place where businesses and law firms and whatever, that generate a lot of paper. Now that just doesn't really happen that much because most things are electronic, but there'll always be a certain amount of paper in business. So they sent me down on this job, and it was this room full of boxes of papers and files, and we were doing something with them. I can't remember which, some kind of organizing or whatever. But this room was huge, just gigantic, and it was like the boxes weren't piled so high like in Indiana Jones. They were piled maybe maybe 3 or 4 boxes high on these pallets, but there were lots of pallets, and we would do whatever we did. I forget what it was, but uh, during breaks every now and then we would also throw footballs in there or frisbees or whatever because it was fun. So it was a good time. That's where I met my friend John, and John and I became good friends, and we do all kinds of stuff together. I was home for the summer. We were around the same age, and we tried having fun. And I was going through a time in my life that I was really expanding out. And I'd done you know stuff like ordinary stuff, like having some fun with friends, but I had never really kind of pushed the envelope. I was always kind of the guy that would, up until that point, that would, you know, uh, have fun, but not. Uh, I was living at home over the summer, and I was looking to take more chances, and have a great time and do things. And now I'm glad I did because I was 22 then, and that's that's what you do when you're 22. And at least that was it for me. In my mid 20s, you branch out. You're not married yet, although I'm thrilled about being married. I love my wife tremendously. Um, but you're single and you're doing different things and different kind of things and having fun and all kinds of experiences that you can look back uh, like 30 years later, which now it's almost 30 years later, and I look back at those times, that things that I did with adventures I did with my friend John and other people, and oh man, fun. When life isn't, um, I have found when you don't have too much responsibility, when you're only responsible for yourself, and you don't have to think about long term because you're 22 and you're never gonna die and everything's gonna be great, and you have the optimism, black and white vision of youth, and I think that's when you really enjoy it. That's, you know, I th- I think you can enjoy your whole life, but that optimism, everything will be great, everything will work out. What's the worst can happen? Let's do it. That is the appeal. So I've already spent 6 minutes talking about that. So much for short videos. So anyway, this particular story is about when John and I decided, or we had decided, we were talking about going parachuting. Oh my gosh. We each talked about it. And you're probably this way with your friends too, or have memories of being this way, or your wife or your husband or whatever, and you talk about things. Oh, one of these days we should do this or that, and you're not really sure if the probability of it ever happening is either remote, or it might happen, but maybe it's just one of those things we have on our list. This was back before the days of the bucket list term, which I didn't know where that came from, other than the movie, but just, things that we want to do, things that we might do if we work up the nerve to do it, or the money, or whatever. So, John and I, who did all kinds of things, we were talking one time, like, we should go parachuting. And John knew this place down near San Ysidro, in Chula Vista area, down kind of near the border with Mexico, south of San Diego. and and he was like, "Yeah, we should do this. It'd be fun." And I said, "Yeah, it'd be great." Of course, I never thought it would happen, but I thought, yeah, well, that does sound like fun, and adventurous, and I think part of it is maybe I've seen that film. I can do a review about this at some point too, with Point Break, with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. At one point, they go parachuting, and I'm like, "Oh, wow, Keanu Reeves did it. Maybe I can do it." I mean, it was just really, really fun. So, but it was like one of these things we talk about. Maybe we'll do it, and it'll be fun. And I didn't realize it until one night we're down at the San Diego Yacht Club, and my Point Loma friends know that area, and we're hanging out on the deck on a Saturday night, and we're just chatting. And John says, "Oh, by the way, I called, made our reservations for the parachuting. I think we should do it, and we're gonna do it a week from Saturday, or the following Saturday rather." And I was like, "Really?" Like, "Oh yeah, it'd be fun." All of a sudden, this thing we talked about was gonna happen. Oh my gosh! So now I had to face it, or the male testosterone, the man like, "Oh, I gotta back down now because I look like I don't want to do it," which I wasn't sure I wanted to do it, but I thought, why not? Why not? This was kind of the summer of '87. This was the why not summer. Why not? Let's do it. Why not? It'd be fun. And so, by gosh, we did it. First of all, I did not tell my parents where I was going, even though I was living with them over the summer, because I went to school up in Humboldt, up by Eureka, California, and I wasn't going to tell my parents, "Hey, like, oh, Dan, what are you doing today?" "Well, I'm going to go jump out of a perfectly good airplane and maybe die." I mean, why would I tell them that? So I didn't think I told them anything. I think I just woke up and said, "Oh, I'll see you later," and left. Thinking, A, I could always tell them afterwards, and B, just in case things did not go well and I died, I wouldn't have to tell them anyway. So win-win. There we went. We got in probably took my car and went down to this place to go parachuting. We show up, and the first thing they have you do is sign these waivers. The waivers saying, basically, "You're going to die, and, you have to promise you won't sue us." And it's going on and on and on. And, that's the thing. My family's got a ton of lawyers and judges in it, and my dad was a judge. And not a downside about being from a legal family, but just a reality. At least it was for me. It's like, I figure I'll sign any waiver, because I think, even if I die, like my cousin John used to joke, "Don't worry, Danny, sign away. We'll sue him anyway." And he was joking about it. Waivers mean nothing. They can put anything they want in there. Waivers mean nothing. Trust me, you get, not that I advocate over suing, but waivers, just like signing a blank piece of paper. So we do that, and then we pay, because they want your cash before you're dead. And then we go into this a classroom, for 2 hours, hour and a half maybe, and the first thing they cover is, okay, this is how you avoid dying, and they're like, going through all this instruction about, this is the chute, you're gonna put it on, we're gonna go up to this level, and you're gonna have an altimeter strapped to you, and it's right down here, it's like this thing, they literally strap this vest with an altimeter right here where you can see it, and we're gonna get in a plane, and, once you're on the plane, you can't, that's the point of no return. That's when you make your decision about, am I really going to do this? Is this really happening? And if you do, you get in the plane. And if you don't, that's it. No shame in that, but that's it. So, we decided, so we went through that. And then you go out and they weigh you, which is always exciting because I weighed a little bit more than I weigh now. Not a lot, but like 20 pounds more. And then they fit a chute on you. They show you how it's packed. You don't pack it; they pack it, and you're watching them. They put it all in. And they put in the emergency chute. They talk about the emergency chute. If the main chute doesn't open, you think I'm gonna be up there dropping like a rock, thinking, "Oh, that's okay. I've got the emergency chute." No, I'm dead. Like, oh well. So we get. I love this story. We go. I think I'm getting more amusement out of this than anybody will be watching it. We go towards the plane, and we get in, and I was the heaviest, and so I was gonna be the one out first, and John was gonna be like the one out second or third. So we go in, and this was back before the days of when they would basically strap you to another person, and they do all the work, and you're just basically along for the ride. Now, the advantage of that, though, is that you can go a lot higher. But this was back in the days of when there's a static line, they call it, a line attached to the plane on one end and to your parachute on the other. So the idea is that when you jump out of the plane, the line attached to the plane disconnects after about 6 seconds or whatever. And then, in theory, opens up your chute, and everything's great. This is what they tell you after you sign the waiver. So, I got on the plane, and I'm still like, oh, we're gonna do this, it'll be fun. And we go, and we take off, and it wasn't until this next moment that I started to think, oh, this is real. Because up until this point, I kind of describe it as it had been kind of like waiting for an elaborate ride at Disneyland or Disney World, although I haven't ever been there. I'm sure it's the same. You're in line and they got the music and the animatronics or whatever, and everything's kind of festive, and you're going through this line and you're talking about Space Mountain or Indiana Jones and how fun it's gonna be and blah blah blah. Indiana Jones, you're like gonna fall out of the thing and die, probably. I'm sure it's happened. But odds are you're gonna be fine. This is the real thing, you know. So we're like, ooh. And I'm watching the altimeter, and it's getting higher and higher. And I knew that we were jumping at 3,000 feet. And yours truly was going to be the first one out the door. I was starting to get a little nervous about John. I gave, about the thing, I gave John the look, like, a little nervous. I didn't say it, but he knew. Yeah, but, it was fine. Door opens. They point to me. Time to go. I get out, and they have this little stand, this little thing that you stand on, outside the damn plane, and outside, and so you're standing there, and then you jump, and you're looking, and for like 3 or 4 seconds, the plane is flying forward, and even though you know you're dropping like a rock, you feel like you're about even with the plane. But at this point, chute hasn't opened yet because it takes about 4 or 5 seconds. And I tell you, that, there used to be a saying, I don't know if it's still PC or whatever, but I'm going to say it anyway. That's what separates the men from the boys or the girls from the women, is when you're watching that moment, in that moment, you're like thinking, oh my gosh. And then, miraculously, wonderfully, pop! And you feel the chute open, and you look up and you see it, and you think, thank God in heaven. It opens, and then you've got like 4 or 5 minutes to just enjoy the view on the way down. Mixed in with looking down on the field, because they have this big white arrow, and they have a radio that you can hear them, but they can't hear you. And they're kind of guiding you which way to pull these pulleys so that you'll be able to land safely. But at the same time, you're enjoying the view, especially the first 2 minutes or so, because they give you time to just sink it in. And I gotta tell you, it was beautiful. And I felt so alive. And it was one of the greatest moments of my life. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. There's one time we went down later on, and I decided not to do it, but, I'm 56 now, and I really want to do it in the next few years. Again, with my wife, either here in Paris or, here, we don't live in France, obviously, but, there's in Paris, California, which isn't that far. There's a place where you can do it, or up in Lake Tahoe, or Hawaii, or whatever, but I really want to do it again. Only this time, I'm going to be strapped on somebody so I can be higher up and enjoy it all the way down. So, anyway, back to where you left me, where I was up in the air, and you're just enjoying the view, and then people ask, well, what's it like when you land? And they tell you, well, it takes either 5 minutes to get down, roughly 4 to 5 minutes, or 30 seconds. You can imagine why it might take you 30 seconds to go down, but we won't talk about that. This is, for me, luckily it took about 4 minutes. I was able to watch. They were able to give me the instruction. You follow this big white arrow that they're turning. down by where you're supposed to land, come down, and I didn't, it's not painful at all. It's like, you know what it is? It's like stepping off a stairs, only a little harder. I'm sure all of us have had that happen. You're coming downstairs, and imagine if you were just walking downstairs naturally, everything's fine. And have you had times that, for whatever reason, when you reach the bottom of the stairs, you don't fall, you don't trip, you just come down a little heavier, and it doesn't really hurt, you're just kind of aware of it, like, maybe your foot's not entirely flat or whatever, but, it's like, just a little bit, but it doesn't hurt at all, and you're so exhilarated, and that is about it for the parachuting story, but it was fabulous, and I would recommend it to anybody. And it was, how people say, it's one of those things that always sounds kind of romantic, like, oh, man, that was one of the greatest moments of my life. That truly was one of the greatest moments of my life. I felt so alive and so excited. And I think now that I'm getting older and having to deal with changes that come with age, like all of us do, at some point, you realize those moments are really important. There's times that you feel alive, and they kind of get redefined, and you still enjoy life, but you don't quite see it as when you're in your 20s or even your 30s. You feel like, and you savor even more. I think when you're younger, you feel the excitement of life, and as you're getting a little older, you cling to it tighter. I'm going to leave it there. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Hope you have a wonderful Labor Day. And the next video is going to be about the birds. And I think after that, I'm going to do one about the Wizard of Oz. So that'll be fun. Until then, this is Dan. Have a wonderful Labor Day and enjoy your time with your family or your friends or whatever you do. And, one more thing. I'm a big-time Padre fan. Go Padres! Woo! Take care. Bye.